Hey everybody, welcome to the Mana Leak. I'm John as always, and this week we're going to continue with the Aether Revolt top 10 lists, this time with the top 10 Aether Revolt masterpieces for Limited. Now, opening a masterpiece is definitely exciting, and you'll take it basically without thought because of the value associated with it. But they're not all instantly good. No, you still shouldn't play Ornithopter even if you got a masterpiece version of it. That being said, some of them are extremely powerful and limited, and these are the top 10. At number 10 is Snaring Bridge. Snaring Bridge can be a back-breaking card, often seen in EDH. I've played against it, and it's horrifying. If you keep your hand empty, nothing on the board can attack. You can then kill your opponent by decking them, by using 1-power flyers, because of course you'll have a card during your turn, pinging them, or any other way that you can think of. But keeping your hand empty means you don't get attacked. Now that being said, it'll still be really hard to pull that off in a modern limited format where you can't just perfectly tune your deck like you can in EDH or Legacy. But still, number 10, Snaring Bridge. Oblivion Stone is number 9. Now, Oblivion Stone is a mainstay of modern Tron decks, one of the few modern decks that I have played a fair bit of. It's better in Tron, as you'll typically have next to no non-land permanents down when you use this, and more than enough mana to be throwing fate counters down on your Karn or whatever you need to protect. Still, in limited, a Wrath effect like this is totally fine, and if you have time, being able to protect your creatures from the Wrath is totally solid. I'd play this in basically any controlling limited deck in this format. Number 8 is Meek Stone. Meek Stone would be a solid build-around card. Going with a super low curve aggressive deck, throw in a pacification array, and you should run over most opponents with ease. Obviously not a snap include in every deck, but easily built around if you get it in pack 1, or happen to already be pretty aggressive and low curve when you get into pack 2 and see it there. So number 8, Meek Stone. Arcboundravager is up next at number 7. Like the ATOG reprint, I'm not super sold on its effectiveness, but at least it mitigates its vulnerability to removal, because of the modular, of course. Plus, with counters rather than a temporary boost, the artifact sacking is worth a lot more than the Ravenous Intruder. With the amount of artifacts in this format, there's more than enough to throw away to this, and having this devour servos to get stronger would be great. An easy include in any deck playing at least a few artifacts. Duplicant comes in at number 6. Well, unimpressive as a 2/4 for 6, that would be the absolute worst case scenario ever. You shouldn't even play it at that point. This is still slightly expensive for sorcery speed removal, but being able to kill off an opponent's creature, and note that this is not an Oblivion type effect. The creature's gone for good as soon as the Duplicant takes it. And you get to steal its power and toughness, means that you can turn your opponent's bomb into your own slightly less ability-filled bomb. A solid card that all but the lowest curve decks would love to play. Vedalken Shackles is up next at number 5, and it's only this low because it requires islands. Now obviously in pack 1 you can go that route easily, and even into pack 2 if you open it there and you're red-black, you can probably switch into blue at that point. Being able to just totally mind control generally any creature you want after turn 5 or 6, assuming of course that you're heavy blue and you have a lot of islands, is super solid. The multitude of artifact hate in this format can hurt this for sure, but it doesn't matter if your opponent's dead already due to a lack of blockers and getting hit with their own creatures. Sword of War and Peace comes in at number 4. The protection granted from swords is simply obnoxious in limited. There's a reason you don't really see protection from that often in many modern sets these days. You'll randomly have games where this basically just means that you win the game because your opponent can't interact with your creature at all. The ability also ensures that the game ends quicker and you're well out of range of damage by gaining a bunch of life. Simply put, swords border on unfair in limited. Platinum Angel is up next at number 3. 7 mana is certainly problematic for some decks to pull off, but the 4/4 flyer that prevents you from losing the game is well worth it. Still, the fact that artifact hate and creature spells kill this make it a bit vulnerable. Don't assume that you have the game totally locked up just because you played her. You still need to close the game quickly somehow. Number 2 is the other sword, Sword of Body and Mind. Pro Green will probably be amazing in this format, as it would have been in Kaladesh as well. The all-star here, though, is obviously the 10-card mill. Hit 3 times with this, and the game is over. Hit 2 times with this, and if the game's gone late enough, the game's over as well. Just an absolute beating. Finally, at number 1, we have another Tron staple, Worm Coil Engine. Worm Coil Engine is absolutely insane value. At a 6/6 for 6, it passes the vanilla test, but beyond that, it has Death Touch and Lifelink, which can easily put you out of reach of your opponents very, very fast. Plus, killing everything, being an amazing blocker, solid creature. And then, if your opponent somehow can kill it, assuming they don't exile it, all it does is split into half and becomes a 3/3 with Lifelink and a 3/3 with Death Touch, which can still be super, super, super problematic. Beyond sending this to the bottom of the library or exiling it, it can be insanely hard to deal with and is the number one mythic, in my opinion, number one masterpiece, in my opinion anyways, in Aether Revolt. So that's going to wrap it up for the top 10 masterpieces in Aether Revolt. Of course, it would be amazing to open any of them, including the Ornithopter, because of the value associated with them. But be careful, not all of them should be played. Let me know what your favorite masterpiece is in this format, either for limited or just in general, in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeak, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeak, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeak if you want to become a backer there, and there's tons of rewards, so make sure you check that out. As always, click that thumbs up icon if you like the content. It really helps the discoverability of my content. Click subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can keep up to date on all the latest content as it shows up. And if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.